Hello and welcome to the world of musical theater. My name is Filippa and I am the Understudy, and this is the channel where we talk about everything musical theater related. And this video is part of our larger series going through the history of musical theater. Today we are discussing the duo Gilbert and Sullivan, so let's learn. Gilbert and Sullivan are among the most influential figures in the history of musical theater. Together, they created works that shaped the operatic tradition, influenced modern musical theater, and even left a lasting impact on copyright law. But more than that, they captured the spirit of their era while crafting stories that remain timeless. Gilbert and Sullivan produced works that offered viewers a harsh yet approachable critique to their own society by fusing light humor with nuanced social commentary. Sir William Gilbert, or W.S. Gilbert, was born in London in 1836. He studied to become an artillery officer and served in the Crimean War, but didn't graduate in time and drifted between jobs as a government clerk, started his own law practice, and was in the militia for 20 years. In 1861, he began writing dramatic criticism and humorous verse for the magazine Fun, using the pseudonym or nickname Bab. His character sketches and cartoons were later collected in the Bab Ballads in 1869, ideas which would later come to life in his work. Gilbert's prolific career includes farces, extravaganzas, and even the construction of the Garrick Theatre in London. He is a highly regarded lyricist in the musical theatre community, and perhaps the most brilliant dramatist of the Victorian England. He was also a prolific journalist and a humorous poet who was knighted in 1907. Before and during his collaboration with Arthur Sullivan, he wrote a multitude of plays, comedies, and more, and he continued writing until his death in 1911, when he tragically passed away while trying to save a woman from drowning. Arthur Sullivan, born in London in 1842, showed musical talent from a very young age. By the time he was 8, he could play every instrument in the military band. He became a child of the Chapelle Royale and composed his first song at 13. After winning the prestigious Mendelssohn Scholarship in 1856, he studied at the Royal Academy of Music and then at the Leipzig Conservatory. Sullivan became famous overnight with his score for Shakespeare's The Tempest in 1861. Among many other positions, he became the first principal of what is now the Royal College of Music and organist for the Royal Opera House before composing a variety of operas, oratorios, hymns, and even patriotic songs. He then studied his work with Gilbert, but was also composing individual pieces throughout their collaboration. He was knighted in 1883 and passed away in 1902. Arthur Sullivan was a famous classical composer, and Gilbert described him as incomparably the greatest English musician of the age. Their first collaboration, Thespis, a Christmas entertainment about the Greek gods and a traveling theater troupe, was only modestly successful, but it laid the groundwork for their partnership. Though its music is lost, the show marked the beginning of one of the most influential collaborations of musical theater history. The breakthrough came with Trial by Jury, a short one-act piece that showcased their combined strength. Gilbert's sharp and satirical lyrics, and Sullivan's vibrant, accessible melodies. A gem of wit and charm. And it was their first collaboration with the producer Richard Doyley Cartay as well, who would make them into big business stars. The success of Trial by Jury led to their first full-length work, The Sorcerer, and then to the smash hit HMS Pinafore, which I've got an entire separate video for you to check out. Pinafore became a sensation, but it was then pirated by American companies, and Gilbert and Sullivan received no compensation for their work. In response, they brought the newly written Pirates of Penzance to the United States, creating the first operatic success on American soil. Pirates of Penzance also has its very own video on my channel for you to check out if you want to do that. Subsequent shows include Patience, a satire on the aesthetic artist movement of the 1870s and 80s, and was the first show performed at the Savoy Theatre, which Doyley Cartay built specifically for Gilbert and Sullivan shows, and the world's first completely electrically lit theatre. Iolanthe, a fairy opera that brilliantly satirized the British political party system, but with great joy and absurdity, followed by thereafter a show called Princess Ida, We have The Mikado, which was one of their most popular and enduring works, set in the fictionalized Japan, which offered sly commentary on British society. It is arguably one of the most popular operas ever written and has delighted audiences for over a century. This was the height of their creative geniuses. The following works, Rudikor, The Yeoman of the Guard, and The Gondoliers, were all greatly received and successful productions. But Utopia Limited was the second to last collaboration and closed after a legal dispute with Gilbert versus Sullivan. They tried to patch things together for the last show, The Grand Duke, but didn't work together more after that. When it comes to the craft of Gilbert and Sullivan, they developed a distinctive style that combined sharp, witty lyrics with memorable melodies. Gilbert followed the same formula for most of his works, including a plot template of boy meets girl, boy gets girl, boy loses girl, and boy gets girl in the end, but with an unexpected twist that complicated the plot. And satirical characters like unqualified politicians, deceitful older women, and benign villains. But even with this absurdity, their shows had more realistic plots and characters than any other show of that time, and the storylines were plausible and made sense in the story. Sullivan's compositions were known for their grand choruses, intricate orchestrations, and he wrote comedic songs about sailors and pirates, exploring creativity and excitement in his work. He also, instead of making the music sound like where it was performed, introduced the idea of writing music that fit into the world of the story. Together, they wrote patter songs, which is like the precursor to rap, with a lot of poetical words delivered very fast. Their shows were 2 acts and concise, with no unnecessary plot points, and each lyrics and musical idea was specific and made for the development of the plot or story. They also wanted no ad-libs or deviances from the plot, and they didn't let the actors choose the music or direction of the show. Instead, they chose actors that fit into the parts and the story, which was a revolutionary concept. They also made fun of the audience and themselves a bit by using hypocrisy to show real life in contrast or relation to the art. Some of the more famous songs from different shows include the Major General song from The Pirates of Penzance, Nightmare Song and Tripping Hither, Tripping Thither from Iolante, I've Got a Little List and 3 Little Maids from The Mikado, A British Tar from HMS Pinafore, and My Eyes Are Fully Open from Rudikor. The legacy of Gilbert and Sullivan is substantial, and this show writing duo raised the level of literacy. But their impact also went far beyond just their productions. With The Pirates of Penzance, they set the very first international copyright law into practice, and their producer, Richard Doyle Carte, standardized production, design, and marketing, creating one of the first modern fandoms in entertainment history. Their commercials and coming attractions left people in excitement, and people even dressed up as characters for Halloween or similar events. They sold photos, paintings, and posters, and showed pieces like trailers from the show to hype up the audience. And their legacy includes the children's theaters that are now all over the world, because they were the first to encourage groups of children to do their productions. Their works remained popular, inspiring parodies, pop culture references, and adaptations for over a century. Their operas remain timeless, and modern creators can learn from their boldness, attention to detail, and innovative approach to storytelling and marketing. Now, I recommend going to the archive link in the description, where you can find so much more about Gilbert and Sullivan, including recordings and sheet music to their productions. That said, thank you so much for watching. If you like these kinds of videos, hit the button and subscribe to the channel for more content. I am making a lot more of these, and there is a lot of history before this as well, so my channel is for your viewing. Have a wonderful time, and I will see you in the next one.